Imagine a world where vast cities once thrived, where knowledge of the stars, engineering, and mathematics reached incredible heights. Yet today, almost nothing remains. These are the stories of lost civilizations, hidden empires, and ancient mysteries that still challenge everything we think we know about human history. And in this video, we're going to journey together into the forgotten corners of the past, to explore the rise, the fall, and the strange disappearance of civilizations that seem almost too extraordinary to have been real. But they were real, or at least, the evidence suggests they might have been. Let's begin with the most famous legend of them all, Atlantis. First described by the Greek philosopher Plato over 2,000 years ago, Atlantis has been imagined as a sprawling, advanced civilization, a maritime power with concentric rings of land and water, palaces gleaming with gold, and technology far ahead of its time. Plato claimed Atlantis was destroyed in a single day and night of disaster, swallowed by the sea. Was it just a moral tale? Or could it have been a memory of a real place, perhaps connected to the volcanic destruction of the island of Thera, modern-day Santorini, around 1600 BCE? Some researchers believe Atlantis was not a myth at all, but a distorted recollection of ancient catastrophes, passed down through generations. Whether you believe it or not, the legend of Atlantis refuses to die. It captures our imagination because it speaks to something universal, the fear that even the greatest civilizations can vanish overnight. But Atlantis is not the only legend of a sunken world. On the other side of the globe, in the Indian and Pacific Oceans, myths speak of Lemuria, a vast lost continent that supposedly stretched across waters that today separate India, Madagascar, and Australia. Unlike Atlantis, Lemuria emerged not from Greek philosophy, but from 19th century scientific speculation. Early geologists and biologists proposed the idea of a land bridge, a vanished continent, to explain the distribution of lemurs and other species. The theory was eventually abandoned as plate tectonics became understood, but the idea of Lemuria took on a new life in esoteric traditions and spiritual circles. To this day, some claim echoes of Lemuria exist in megaliths scattered across the Indian Ocean, and ancient Tamil legends of a sunken land called Kumari Kandam. Are these just cultural memories of rising sea levels after the last ice age, when entire coastlines were drowned? Or could Lemuria hold a kernel of truth? The mystery remains. Now let's turn from the legendary to the undeniable. Few sites have shaken our understanding of early civilization more than Göbekli Tepe in southeastern Turkey. For decades, archaeologists believed agriculture came first, and only then could humans build complex societies. But Göbekli Tepe shattered that timeline. Dated to around 9600 BCE, this site is older than Stonehenge and even older than the pyramids. It consists of massive stone pillars arranged in circles, decorated with intricate carvings of animals and abstract symbols. What's astonishing is that Göbekli Tepe was built by hunter-gatherers, people who supposedly lacked the organization to construct such monumental architecture. This raises incredible questions. Did religion and shared belief systems spark civilization rather than farming? And why was the entire site deliberately buried thousands of years later? The people who created it seem to have wanted it hidden, preserved for millennia, waiting to be rediscovered. Travel westward, and we encountered the Olmecs of Mesoamerica, a culture that flourished long before the Maya and Aztec. Known today mostly for their colossal stone heads, carved from basalt and weighing up to 40 tons, the Olmecs remain deeply mysterious. They lived along the Gulf Coast of Mexico from around 1500 to 400 BCE, but so much about them is unknown. They had writing, complex art, sophisticated trade networks, and perhaps even early versions of the Mesoamerican ballgame. Yet they vanished, leaving behind few clues about their decline. Did environmental change disrupt their society? Was it warfare? Or were they absorbed into later cultures, their knowledge passed on in ways we barely recognize? The Olmecs remind us that entire civilizations can rise, achieve remarkable things, and then fade into the background of history, their voices nearly silenced. Crossing to North America, we find the city of Cahokia, located near present-day St. Louis. At its peak around the year 1100 CE, Cahokia was larger than London. Tens of thousands of people lived there, constructing massive earthen mounds that still dominate the landscape today. The central mound, called Monk's Mound, covers more ground than the Great Pyramid of Giza. Cahokia had a complex social structure, long-distance trade, and even what some scholars believe was a wooden calendar, known as Woodhenge, aligned with the solstices. And yet, by the 14th century, Cahokia was abandoned. Climate change, resource depletion, or political turmoil might have been the cause. But imagine this, a sprawling city in North America, thriving centuries before European contact, completely forgotten until archaeologists rediscovered it. How many people today even know that the largest pre-Columbian city, north of Mexico, once stood right in the heartland of the United States? Venturing east, across the deserts of Pakistan and India, we encounter the Indus Valley civilization. Flourishing around 2500 BCE, cities like Mohenjo-daro and Harappa were masterpieces of urban planning. They had grid-like streets, advanced drainage systems, standardized weights and measures, and impressive public baths. What's especially striking is their apparent lack of grand temples or obvious rulers. Unlike Egypt or Mesopotamia, the Indus cities don't show the same evidence of kings or pharaohs. Instead, they seem to have thrived on a more collective, perhaps egalitarian, form of organization. And yet, their script remains undeciphered. To this day, no one can fully read the Indus writing system. Without their words, their voices are lost, their stories silent. Around 1900 BCE, their civilization declined, possibly due to climate shifts that dried up the rivers they depended on. But their legacy lives on in the cultural DNA of South Asia, even if the details are still veiled in mystery. And then there are the Sea Peoples, a confederation of mysterious groups who swept across the eastern Mediterranean around 1200 BCE, bringing chaos to some of the greatest empires of the time. They attacked Egypt, toppled cities in the Levant, and may have played a major role in the collapse of the Bronze Age. Who were they? Were they displaced populations fleeing drought and famine? Mercenaries banding together? Or an entire lost civilization migrating across the seas? The records we have, carved into Egyptian temples and inscribed on crumbling tablets, speak of them as terrifying invaders who changed the course of history. The Sea Peoples remain one of the greatest enigmas of the ancient world, a shadowy force that contributed to the fall of mighty kingdoms, leaving us with more questions than answers. What ties all these civilizations and mysteries together is the question of lost knowledge. How much have we truly forgotten? Did ancient societies possess technologies or insights that were later lost to history? The precision of megalithic stonework, the astronomical alignments of temples, the sudden appearances of advanced urban planning. All of these suggest that ancient people knew far more than we often give them credit for. Some of that knowledge may have been practical, some spiritual, some symbolic. But the truth is, history is not a straight line of progress. It's full of rises and collapses, forgotten breakthroughs, and rediscovered wisdom. And here's something to consider. Our modern civilization is not immune. Just as Atlantis, Cahokia, and the Indus Valley flourished and fell, so too could our own world someday be remembered as a chapter in the larger story of humanity. A story of triumphs, losses, and mysteries yet to be uncovered. Perhaps the ruins we leave behind will puzzle future generations, just as Göbekli Tepe or Mohenjo-daro puzzle us today. As we wrap up this journey, let's remember that the search for lost civilizations isn't just about ruins and artifacts. It's about understanding who we are, where we came from, and what lessons the past can teach us about resilience, creativity, and fragility. Because every forgotten empire, Every vanished city is a reminder that history is bigger, stranger, and more mysterious than we ever imagined. If you found this exploration inspiring, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with anyone who loves uncovering the hidden corners of the past. And let me know in the comments which of these lost civilizations fascinates you the most. Atlantis, Lemuria, Göbekli Tepe, the Olmecs, Cahokia, the Indus Valley are the sea peoples. Until next time, keep searching, keep questioning, and never stop exploring the mysteries of our forgotten history. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow. Share this video with a friend who loves a good mystery. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe so you won't miss the next story. There's a lot more to uncover, and I'd love to have you along for the journey.